Remember these days? We've come a long way since the beginning of the home shopping experience. We like to do things a little differently now.
If you don't take lifts up, I'll kill you.
Okay, we like to do things a lot differently now. Introducing to you the next evolution of online shopping. Say hello to Verb. Engage and interact with customers like never before, and turn your sales team into stars with Verb's unique, interactive, and live approach. Get in front of the largest audience possible and give your customers a feel of exclusivity and ease in a super intuitive sales cycle designed to put prospects in front of products. For any commodity and any customer, market with Verb.
Watching America Trends. I'm Mary Godwin in our new studio here at Loft 100 Studios in my booth, steakhouse booth. So I'm excited to meet our next guest. She is the founder and CEO of Chargebacks911, the only solution on the market to provide true end-to-end chargeback management solutions to merchants. Her name is Monica Eaton. Welcome to America Trends.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Hi, yes, welcome. Where are you zooming in from, Monica?
I am actually in Tampa, Florida. I know it looks like I'm at an airport.
It does.
But that isn't the case. At least it's sunny outside.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Now tell me how, before we dive into what Chargebacks911 is, tell me how, what your history is and how you got started with this.
So I fell into the payments industry by accident and have been in technology pretty much, since I was a teenager. And in 2008, I started this business and I thought it wasn't Chargebacks911. I wanted to compete with eBay. And I thought, I have this technology background. I mean, how hard could it be to build this marketplace online? And the internet was really starting to get popular. And so I had this online website and, I failed my way to success with that. Definitely lots of expensive learning with the dynamic way that the internet works. And man, 15 years ago is a very, very different place.
Yes.
And then as soon as I got to a point where I thought, I'm finally getting the ingredients to success where I can duplicate and get out of the debt that I have, I got hit with this pesky problem called chargebacks. And I didn't know what it was. And so in trying to resolve that, it's one of those amazing, it's a great story, but Chargebacks911 was born out of necessity because I had to solve my own problem.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I realized a lot of other merchants, just like me, had the same problem. And I created this initially as a consulting deal. I thought, for chargebacks, what I wanted as an online business, I just wanted to dial 911 and be rescued from chargeback hell.
Right.
And one thing has grown to the next. Today, we are 12 years old. We serve financial institutions and retailers all over the world. And still solving problems in a smarter way.
So, gosh, so many questions. So, and I love, serendipity happens, right? With sometimes you just fall into this new line of work that you were saying solved your problem, and then you've now helping others, which I think is awesome. Because it didn't really occur to me when I was learning about you. I thought, oh, this must be a really big problem, and I would think particularly now with things like Instacart and DoorDash or whatever, where the merchant isn't even on site and they don't know,
right.
And I have to call. It takes me a long time to find a line to call when maybe my food didn't get delivered or something happened with my delivery. And then there's a chargeback there, and then so you got to protect the merchants and the customers as well. So where do you fall in all of that? And have you seen it grow exponentially over the last few years?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I do have to say, like, food delivery issues, one of my number one pet peeves, because it is like, this is a great example of how things have become more complicated. It isn't just the restaurant that you ordered from. It's another business that is processing that is delivering it. So there's all these complications. So bottom line, the world has become a lot more complicated. So where we sit in terms of a dispute or chargebacks, which is basically, any type of issue that a consumer that exists between a buyer and a seller when a credit card or a debit card is used. So where we sit, we are a platform provider, and so we provide technology that exchanges chargeback related data or dispute data between merchants like business owners, online businesses, store present businesses, franchises, so companies all over the world, and financial institutions. So these would be companies that issue cards and companies that issue merchant processing accounts. And then we integrate with organizations like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and all of these banks. And we help connect the dots so that companies can utilize our software to automate a lot of the workflows that are required to exchange data back and forth so that these financial institutions can make decisions for their buyers and sellers. And we can establish and continue with a great consumer protection mechanism that doesn't only help consumers. Let's keep in mind, this actually helps the whole industry, because consumers are only going to buy if we all feel safe,
right?
And we know that our transactions are protected.
So it sounds like a very complicated process, and it does seem like you are absolutely, such a help to people. If there is a service like yours to say, help me, I'm getting too many chargebacks. And, are you finding, is there a lot of fraudulent chargebacks? I mean, do you do some of that research to find out if it's a legitimate chargeback, or what, getting to the crux of what the problem is? Do you see businesses that seem to have more than others, or, let's get into the weeds there a little bit.
Sure. So I think, in response to, look, have chargebacks grown? Absolutely, they continue to grow. And I think, if you can appreciate, a great example is most of us use an app for our banking. We probably rarely write checks, if any. In fact, there's probably a generation that's never even seen a check and will never see a check in their entire lives.
Yep, my kids.
Yeah, exactly. Mine as well. So the thing is, we're very digital. We're one-click checkout. We use Venmo. Like we just have a totally different lifestyle. And as a result, the world has become, and I think it's kind of an evolution. It's a catalyst between COVID and all the structural changes, but also technology has evolved and consumer behavior has evolved. And Amazon is a great example. They really shifted the standards in how merchants and businesses need to behave online. So, for example, it is no longer good enough for an online merchant to ship you a product in a week. You want it tomorrow.
Yes.
Because Amazon has shown us this is the new standard, and this is the new rule. So in terms of chargebacks, well, we bank online, we bank with an app, we have one click to see all of our transactions. We don't have to wait for a statement to be mailed to us. And so in disputing a transaction, oftentimes it's one click on your cell phone and you can see a refund instantly. It's a few clicks if you have, fraud. And what's made the problem, I think it's made the problem worse in terms of how to identify where's the actual fraud happening. Is it, a mistake? Is it intentional? Is it a third-party criminal? Is it the business? It's becoming more and more difficult. And part of this is because technology and the complexities continue to evolve. So for example, you go to your app, and I have this happen. I know every consumer has this. I look at the transaction and literally I don't recognize it. It's like gobbledygook. it's a bunch of letters.
Right.
I mean, you don't know what there's not a phone number. And because I'm educated, I know that I'm going to wait a few days. Eventually there will be a phone number. I can call my bank and ask them for a number. I'm not going to just click a dispute button, as tempting as it may be. But for many consumers, they aren't educated what happens if you click a button and dispute that transaction. They think, well, this is a service that my bank is providing, and they'll take care of it. And actually, I don't recognize what this is because it doesn't have anything to do with anything I've purchased. So not only do businesses not know what consumers are seeing, So there's gaps between buyers and sellers and how they're communicating, but also banks can't keep pace with all the changes. And in the midst, we have COVID that has really pushed the entire world online,
right,
using digital in every single direction.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to keep pace with.
It's a lot. And like you were
Yes.
saying, there's also third-party bad actors out there that could get in the middle. So there's a lot to be juggling here. So merchants and people that own businesses should look for you at the Chargebacks911. Is that .com that your URL, or
Yeah.
you're also MonicaEC.com? People should find you, Chargebacks911. You sound like this is an amazing service for merchants and vendors out there. So thank you for what you're doing to help people, because it's a hard world to navigate all of these things. So thank you for joining us today, Monica Eaton. And you're watching America Trends. You can find us on social media at America Trends TV. We'll be right back right after